So our guest was just on the phone with a very important individual. I don't know if he wants to name who it was, so I'll just abstain from saying who it was until he gets back. He has to do a change of his attire.
You know what it is? It's this fucking couch. It's the couch.
The couch makes you fat.
The couch. People don't like the couch.
Yeah,
It's
the
the
couch.
angle.
The couch
It's
makes
the
you
angle
fat.
of the couch.
The angle, because like you're mushed over, and then the camera angles down.
There we go.
So
Yeah, you look
know.
gangster right now, dude.
You know what? I'm not a gangster,
Yeah?
but I like to look like one.
Me too.
So, welcome to the Close the Door Behind You podcast. We have a very special guest today. This is the one and only Dr. Bryan Doonan. Welcome, Dr. Bryan Doonan.
Thank you, Judson.
We have,
Dr.
of course,
Crosney.
I'm Dr. Judson Crosney. Of course, as always, we have our Lord and Savior, Christos, the comedian, here in studio.
Hello.
So, to give you a little bit of background, so Dr. Bryan Doonan is a physician who has a series of practices out in California. He also is a professional surfer and has many titles under his belt, and we've been friends for decades and decades. He just came into New York City, and we are honored to have you here in studio. Thanks so much for coming by, Bri.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So what's been going on in your life lately?
Well, you know, I just sold a bunch of urgent care centers, and
Nice.
and now I'm starting this new center it's called Primary Care for Hair because everyone lost their hair during COVID.
Yes,
So
they did.
I jumped on it and I partnered with Alma Lasers, and we're starting this new thing where we ultrasound growth factors underneath the hair, and I can get at least 20 to 100% back depending on, you know, if you've lost hair follicles or not.
Really? Are you gonna do it yourself or?
Yeah, I've been doing it as a start,
But
I've trained a bunch of people how to do it.
really?
No, he means on yourself, right? You mean on, is he doing
no,
it?
I didn't do it. I can't do it on myself. It's too hard.
But you will do it for yourself.
100% doing
Yeah.
it for myself.
So can I do it?
Absolutely.
Can we live stream it and help
Let's
promote
do
it?
this.
That's a great idea,
Let's make
actually.
let's make it grow.
Yeah. All right. Wait. Can you look at my head really quick?
Sure.
Okay. So it's not like I'm losing it, but it's like
It's
thin.
getting thin. Yeah.
Yeah.
N-
And I
right.
just wanna
This is the
take care of the
perfect
thin.
time.
This is the perfect
Because
time.
what happens is it goes into a phase called the telogen phase, and you just get these little hairs that can't break through.
Yeah.
And I put this serum in from Europe, and I ultrasound it underneath your hair follicles, and I can get those cells strong enough to pull the hair out.
Dude, let's do it. When can we do it?
Anytime you're in Cali.
I'll go tomorrow. You tell me when to go.
I'm gonna leave on Monday, so can we just have like a couple days?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you got to get settled. I'll go in a few weeks because let me tell you, I'm going to have a baby soon.
What?
Yeah, so I want to if my hair looks great when the baby's born in May,
Yep.
like people will be like, yo. And then I'll get to show them, like, you see how young your father looked when
There
he
it
had
is.
you? And then you ruined my life. You know? That's what I need, dude.
You think that Irie, when she's in his wife's name's Irie, you think Irie's gonna like put on makeup and stuff like that for the photos when they
100%, dude.
Yeah, they all do
Dude,
that.
She
It's hilarious.
is more. What's sad is when I catch myself being more insecure than her in photos, because like all women are like, let's take 20,
Right.
let's make sure
Yeah.
they're from this specific angle, then let's make sure that the sun is in the position of northeast, so that the light hits me perfectly. And then when she likes a picture and I hate how I look, I am so emasculated.
She posts it.
No, she doesn't post it. She
Okay.
actually is super respectful.
Have you ever practiced in the mirror?
No.
Do it.
Like taking pictures?
No, you just have to just secretly hide yourself and do it and work on your angles. That's what Zoolander did.
Yeah.
The
Oh, so
best
you're
was-
saying like go into the mirror, work on my angles?
Yep.
Is that what you do?
Maybe.
Okay, what's the position you're taking right now in front of the camera?
Okay, which camera are we talking about? It's like 10 cameras.
Okay, the main camera that is on
This
you.
one right here.
That's you. This one, this main camera.
Okay. Yeah, you can never. You try not to look straight at the camera.
Really?
Yeah, if you look straight on, it's usually the worst photo.
Oh.
When you're taking a still, you can maybe it looks good staring straight at a movie camera, but if you always want to have a little side angle.
Little side?
That's a trick.
Huh.
Yeah, so when I first met Bryan, he was a professional surfer. He still is a professional surfer, but this was back in the days when everything was done like on slides. And so you'd go into his house, and he would have just slides out and these loops that you'd look through the slides, because this was like super digital crazy stuff. And he would have like literally his day would be we were in college together, and it was go to college, and then he had to arrange which photographer he was going to go shoot with surfing. He was a professional surfer, still is. And so like he almost wouldn't go surfing without a photographer shooting him, because it was just like not worth his while.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
Dude, I fucking respect you, dude.
Thank
I
you.
respect the shit out of that.
So the really cool
That's
thing
cool.
about Bry as well is that he is. So when I first came from New Jersey out to California, he and his brother were both surfing incredibly, and there was the first Saturday that I spent with them. We were surfing this place, Black's Beach, and at 11 o'clock we got out of the water, and they said, "Okay, let's go home and study." And I was like, "What are you talking about? It's Saturday." And they're like, "No, we got to study. We're going to medical school." And right then and there, I was like, wow, like these guys were not only incredible surfers, but it was cool. They showed me that it was cool to actually take this stuff seriously. And Bryan and his brother Kent were very influential in me being able to get through that period, take it seriously, and get into medical school myself. So thank you, Dr. Bryan Doonan. I owe a lot to you.
You're so welcome. You know, I was always motivated to be the best I could be. You know, especially when you're in school, it's just such a short time. All these kids out there thinking, you know, oh my gosh, you know, high school and college, it's forever, but it's so short in your lifespan. And if you work really hard for a short time, you're gonna have a really good long life. But if you don't work really hard for a short time, you're gonna have a really long, hard life. And my dad pounded that in my head, and it trained me to go do things that are fun. Work super hard, and you can do it again.
Cool.
Damn.
So lately, so you ended up going to, well, you did a bunch of stuff in surfing. You then got into medical school. You graduated medical school, did a residency, and then opened up an urgent care in Newport Beach, California. I don't know if you've ever been to Christos. You've ever been to Newport Beach, California, but super cool,
Perhaps.
like
I've
unbelievable.
smoked a Newport cigarette.
Close.
You landed it.
Do they smoke Newports there? No, I don't think so. It's not the demographic, right? So, long story short, he ends
They're
up
out there.
like he ends up opening a series, like a whole series, a slew of urgent care centers all over California, and lived on the beach in Newport Beach, like a block in, with our other friend, and then just sold all of these urgent cares. I think the majority of them. You still hold a couple, is that right?
I have one urgent care that's my baby that I kept at Fashion Island.
Okay.
And then all the other ones, I started a different company so I could sell off the other ones.
Yeah.
And then I say don't ever keep all your eggs in one basket. So
Okay.
I have a couple med spas. I have an IV hydration lounge now called
Nice.
Boost.
Okay. Cool.
And then and I have that's new hair. It's called Primary Care for Hair.
Got you.
Prime
So, what
care for
are
hair,
you?
Which
are-
we'll be marketing together.
Have you been doing anything to enjoy yourself? I mean, after all the success, I'm sure that you walked away with some resources. Are you traveling? Are you doing anything fun for yourself? What are you doing to take care of yourself?
Yeah, well, I flew. I've never been to Europe, so I just jumped on a plane, literally 2 weeks after, and stayed in Europe for a few weeks and just had the best time in Paris and Barcelona.
Whoa, cool. So that you had never been to Europe before?
Never, I couldn't afford it.
Wow.
Europe. Which countries do you like in Europe?
Well, there's plenty of countries to love,
Mm-hmm.
but I've only been to Paris and Spain. Oh, sorry, France and Spain.
France and Spain?
Yeah,
You got to go to Greece, man.
I would love to. Greece, Italy.
I'll give you a whole itinerary.
please.
He
Yeah.
owns olive trees in Greece.
Yeah, my family, we do olive oil. I'll give you some olive oil. How long are you in the town till?
Till Monday night.
All right, I'll give you some olive oil from my father's communist collection, established like olive trees.
Really?
Yeah, so they're so communist at the time. So my dad he's from 1947. He was born, right? So
Okay.
he's pretty old. He survived. Like that part of Europe, still embraced communism to a certain extent.
Wow.
So like his father my grandfather was a communist, for the most part. Like he was driving people in a car, like migrant workers. He would drive them on a bus. He would drive the children to go like collect olives from like the trees.
Wow.
And they would have like little kids working, and the police would stop his bus full of kids, like child labor, and be like, "What are you doing with those kids?" It's like, "Oh, we're babysitting because their parents are working at the olive field. So like
Okay.
someone's got to watch these kids." And
Genius.
So, yeah, exactly. So he was like just skating by, sometimes like throwing the guy like a 50 or whatever. And so those trees have passed down for generations. And my village, there's like a couple of groups that go and harvest all the olives. And they're like, okay, you had 130 trees. You had 200 trees. So you get this much of the olive oil of like that we've all processed and like refined.
Wow.
And then, and it's like not for sale. It's like everybody has it. As like it's just like something that if you buy the trees, you buy the piece of this like ecosystem, and the guy that like harvests it gets paid, of course, like for all of it. But it's like dues, it's like HOA fucking fees.
Dr. Jud, do you use child labor in any of your medical
They don't do
facilities?
it anymore, just to be clear. But at the time they did.
No.
Yeah. So I'll
There's
bring
no
you some
child-
oil. I'll bring you some oil.
Yeah, so I've got some of his oil.
As long as the oil's
It's legit, dude. You've
okay.
never had oil like this.
Thank you so much for the oil.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the hair.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I used to, when I first showed up to California, I would put oil all over myself and just lay on the beach, and these guys would be like,
With your medallion.
with a medallion. When I first showed up, I was wearing combat boots. I was wearing Doc Martin
beach?
combat boots.
Yeah.
I was wearing a pair of shorts, and I went down for the University of California, San Diego surf team tryouts, wearing boots, shorts, 2 surfboards, running down the cliff to blacks, and everybody was just like,
With the large medallion.
yeah, big medallion.
What was the medallion of?
It was a buffalo head nickel.
Are you for real?
Yes. I still, and you gave it to me maybe 15 years ago, and I saved it, and I still have it to this day, and I'm gonna frame it for you.
I would love to wear it again.
So you got it. I may have to get it repaired, but it's gonna be fixed. And
Or just even a replica would be so rad.
no, this is the real thing. We'll clean it up and make it happen.
Dude, have Idy do it. My wife is a jewelry
That's
designer.
right.
She
I'll
could
just-
fucking
I'll-
do it.
That would
I'll
be
FedEx
so
it to
cool.
you guys.
Yeah, that'd
and
be
then we'll
easy.
make the nickel medallion back.
Yeah, people were definitely they were enthused and appalled by my presence. They either loved me or hated me. Kind of like now. Nothing's really changed.
I just hate him.
That's why he keeps
Who
me around.
doesn't?
Yeah. Wait, so you guys became friends from like the the surfboarding and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and also being doctors. Like, how did you guys know that you were like? Did you know you guys were gonna be longtime pals? Because this is like 20 years now. You're friends.
Let me tell you about the origin of my friendship with Dr. Bryan Doonan. So I was dating when I was in high school. I met a girl on a trip to California.
This is when
and
he was still dating girls.
I was 16
Yeah.
years old. Yeah, this is pre. All of that stuff. That's just that's
Self-discovery.
those are allegations. They're just allegations. So I was 16 years old. I was dating this girl who lived in San Diego, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to send you." There were these 2 guys, these 2 twins. They're professional surfers. They surf at Quicksilver. They were signing autographs at Nordstrom's in La Jolla. I'm gonna send. I got you their autograph. She sends to me, and I'm like, what the who? And so then I actually qualified to go to the U.S. Surf Championships in Hawaii that summer, which was the year before I got accepted to UC San Diego. I'm walking down the beach, and I see the 2 guys. It's him and his brother, and I'm like, hey, I know you guys. And they were just like, well, and we became buddies.
I'm pretty sure he had his medallion on too.
I definitely had an Italian on.
And you were like, "Oh, this poor child is lost from his chaperones."
Yeah, he's like, hey,
He's like, "I know you."
Dude, I used to surf with a medallion on, and the medallion would come up and hit me in the teeth. And one time it chipped my tooth.
Oh my god.
for sure, it's that thick. Wait till you see it. Maybe we can put pictures.
And then I read,
the
and so
podcast.
and so
Yeah,
then
that'd be cool.
we were talking in Hawaii, and I was like, "Oh, how do I get on the UCSD surf team?" And whatever. We talked a little bit, and then when I got to UCSD that next fall, we became buddies. Tell him how I made friends with all you guys.
Well, first he came down to the beach with a patch on his wetsuit. The water's freezing, but he's from Jersey. The water's 40. So he was in a short john with a mobile oil patch on his wetsuit.
Hell yeah. That's
I'm like, what's this? Like, you're sponsored by Mobile?
Yeah, so I just thought it was appropriate to and people, yeah. That I just figured.
Wait, why did you have it?
Because I just wanted to aggravate people.
As if the medallion wasn't aggravating enough.
So I went to the tailor in my town. And I was like, "Hey, I got this mobile oil patch. Can you put this on my wetsuit?" It was like a short sleeve full suit, and he's like, "Sure." And it was just hilarious. People would literally pull up. They would like paddle up to me and be like, "Are you really sponsored by Mobile?" They were just like with this disdain.
That would be the best.
Yeah, dude. It's
Drive
like
anywhere. Drive to Mexico. Let's go to Cabo.
And then I just decided.
You know who has the best waves? A place riddled with oil.
And then I just decided who was going to be my friends there. And I just basically posted up in their crew. And they were just like, at first, absolutely just disgusted by my presence. Is that about accurate?
No, nobody was disgusted. They were just, what's the word I'm looking for? Slightly offended. It was just obnoxious.
Yeah.
But once you get to know him, you know it's not obnoxious. It's just him.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's just what you get.
I showed up to one of their apartments, and it was like a Friday night, and we're all hanging out on the couch, and I heard one of them say something about they're like, "Oh, you going out?" And I'd like that back then when I was 18 years old meant like going surfing. Are you going out? And I'm like, "Oh, you mean going surfing? Like, are you?" And one of them's like, "Well, I guess you could go surfing in like Huntington Pier because there's lights off the pier." And I'm like, "We're going. Get in my car." And they were like, they kind of looked at each other. I'm like, "I'm not kidding. Get in my car now. We're driving to where we could surf at night." And they were like, "Okay." So we jump in my car. I had a Nissan Pathfinder 1988 two-seater.
That's a cool car.
Burgundy.
Drove up to Huntington Beach Pier and was surfing. And then literally, so another thing, we drove to this place. They're like, "Oh, we should go get some tacos." We go to Del Taco, get the tacos. And I pull into the gas station, and I went to self-service. I went to full service because I was eating my tacos. And so my buddies are like, or these guys that barely knew me, they're like, "Oh, you're in the wrong lane. You need to go over there." And I'm like, "I'm not in the wrong lane. I'm eating my tacos." And they're like, "It's more expensive." I'm like, "I don't care." And so I'm honking on the horn. I'm laying on the horn for the owner of the gas station to come out. And he's like, "What? You're in the wrong lane." And I'm like, "I'm not in the right lane. Pump my gas. I'm eating my tacos." And these guys were just like, "What's the matter with him?"
Yeah, we just don't have full service out in California. So I think did it say full service or
Yeah.
Okay, because it used to be like probably in like the 80s it stopped. But
There was a regular.
but they just stopped.
There was the
doing it.
option.
Yeah, but there's for some reason in California there's no option. So what I was thinking is we should start a gas station with girls on roller skates
Definitely.
that
That serve you gas in
Yeah,
like
it's full
cups.
service.
a
Anything,
great idea.
beverage, roller skating around, pumping your gas.
In New Jersey, it's mandatory. You can't pump your own gas.
I know, and I think it's a law with the oil. The oil that's there's some.
But that's a great idea, though. Make it like roller skates, bikinis.
Let's
I
do
think it makes more sense to not pump your own gas, right? Like think of you have access to making a big situation very quickly when you have a gas.
Kind of like when I drove off with a gas nozzle in my tank.
Well, not even that. Like you could just like take
He did
the
that
gas thing and just go crazy.
Right, yeah.
You know?
By the way, you did that too, right?
Yeah, I've done it.
Go crazy with the gas
Nope.
tank.
Just drive off with it because like someone called me or whatever, and I forgot I didn't take the pump out, and now the pump's getting dragged on the ground.
No way. Because it just like pops off from the
They
hose
actually
part?
have a quick release now.
Oh.
So
Yeah, they made the quick release after Doonan and myself drove off with a nozzle in the tank.
at the same gas station in La Jolla.
These
Right
guys were-
after he fixed it the first time, he's like, "Why?"
I remember my dad called me. He's like, "What happened? The insurance went up like astronomically." I'm like,
That's
I forgot to
crazy.
tell you. I forgot to take the nozzle out of the tank and drove off with the nozzle and was pulling the hose down the road about a mile.
Yeah, you're used to full service. I get it.
I know, it's their
Makes
fault.
sense. Listen, I was born in Jersey. I still have that first full service thing in my mind. It happens.
So
I'll be right
funny.
back.
It's an accident.
So what else have you done any surf trips or anything lately?
I haven't. I have an injury right now that I'm actually having surgery in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's
to fix
right.
my hip, and then I've got some trips lined up to the Mentawais, and
Cool.
hopefully just huge barrels.
Big ones. Good. Excellent. Now, you had your other hip done too, right?
Yeah, just I have really shallow hip sockets, so I can injure them real easy.
How long did that take you to recover from?
It took me about 3 months.
Oh, I heard that you had like a special walker with like a drink cup and like like a lighter on it, and like it was like had like disco ball and like lights all over and down the thing. Tell us about that thing.
Yeah, it actually had the Cheech and Chong, little braids coming down with the balls.
Cool.
And then Sabo put lights on it that it could hit the switch and it'd start blinking all different colors. And
That's
then
so funny.
Then I put a horn on it.
I love it. That's so cool. So, when was the last time you were in New York City?
New York City, it's probably been.
Has it been like since the last time you came to see me, like 20 years ago?
Trying to think.
I'm trying to remember what we. Oh, I remember what we did the last time we were here.
It's been since I haven't been in the city for at least 15 years, maybe 20.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember around, like in around 2000, 2002, you came to visit. And we did some sightseeing and had a good time.
I just didn't have any time when, I started all those urgent cares. I was working 7 days a week
Yeah,
for 7 years.
right. You can't, there's no day off when you're
No,
own
there's no, I
business,
couldn't take, 3 days off was impossible.
Right.
2 days off was like a vacation.
Yeah.
And 1 day off was a blessing every 36 to 48 days.
Did you ever consider just completely selling everything and just walking off into the sunset?
Yes.
And why didn't you?
I was close.
You were close, and then you just figured
Yeah, I still have some years to work, and
okay.
once you do that, you're done pretty much. So
Right. Yeah.
I wanted to keep going and work another 10 years.
So you still have how many clinics?
Right
You
now,
got just that one in
I've
Fashion
got
Island?
one urgent care.
Okay.
I've got 2 med spas.
All right.
And I have an IV hydration lounge.
Okay, cool.
They're all in Orange County.
What do you do with the med spas?
It's basically supervising, and then I can do cosmetics.
No, but like what type of services do you guys? I mean,
Just
Botox,
injectables.
fillers.
One
Okay.
one of them is just all injections. All we do is
Okay,
Botox and fillers.
got you.
And the other office does Botox, fillers, and laser, like
All right,
laser
cool.
facials.
Yeah, you don't do any of the. Do you do the laser tattoo removal?
I don't. I thought about getting into it. It's just a long process. They don't have a great laser that's painless.
Right.
So my new office that does hair removal, I've got the only painless hair removal laser.
Got you.
It ices you,
Uh-huh.
and then you just strum it back and forth instead of zapping people each time.
Mm.
And it's absolutely painless, and it's called the Soprano.
It whacks you. That's cool. The Soprano. We had a IV med spa back in Delray, but we didn't really do that well with it. I don't know whether it was marketing or we just spent too much money. It's kind of difficult to make money.
Yeah, it's you have to make sure it's the right area because it's cash only, really. I mean,
Right.
Insurance just doesn't pay for IVs.
No.
It's not. You can't open up a spot and even pay rent if you do that.
Right.
So cash only. You have to have a bunch of formulas, like the hangover formula, the pre-workout, the post-workout formula.
Right.
And
How much are you guys selling the IVs for?
the IVs? Most IVs are about $175 a session.
Okay.
Takes about an hour,
Right.
and you just have to have the best staff.
Yeah.
And customer service is everything.
Do you have the Blantrage working at your place still?
I don't have the Blantrage, but it's close.
So you have great staff, great products. So you're doing IVs, you're doing Botox fillers, hair. By the way, man, I had the hair. I get the laser, like 10 treatments, nothing.
Come over.
We're talking about what he's got going on.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, I've got a hair removal machine. So I started this primary care for hair, and we're gonna do one room, and I got this from the Karate Kid. One room's hair on, the other room is hair off.
Nice.
So that's going to be, when are you starting those clinics?
That clinic already started. I started it January.
Is it in Fashion Island
It's
as
in
well?
Fashion Island, yeah.
Okay.
Brand new office.
Very cool. So that just started in January. So last month or 2 months ago. It's March. Well,
It is March 1st.
nice. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean-
March 1st. Wow, I can't believe how quick that's
Kalomina,
going.
as we say in the Greek.
How do you say it?
Kalomina.
Kalomina is March? It sounds a lot
No,
cooler than
we're saying like Happy New Month. It's like you wish the people that you're around like good month, like let the rest of the month be good.
Kalomina.
Kalomina.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's
Very
cool.
cool.
Oh, you say it on the 1st of the month.
Do you say it every time?
I'd say it, to the people who would know that
Okay.
it means something, usually.
So,
Sounds good.
Bri, like you've been a physician for, it seems like, since 2000, so 25 years you've been a physician. Can you identify any stories that you've encountered, any patient encounters? Obviously, we're going to keep it, we're not going to name any names or anything, but any funny things that have happened or things that have stuck with you that you want to share with us?
Sure. Do you want bites? Do you want
Bites? We're not talking about your ex-girlfriends. What kind of bites?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, organic conversation is always the best. So, like, you actually telling the story, no matter how long it is, as long as it does the story justice, is totally cool. But that being said, if you pick some bullshit fucking lame ass story, we're not gonna want to fucking hear it. Okay?
done?
All right, go for it.
Well, there's plenty of things that happen in medicine, and you just never know what's going to walk in the door.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the wildest times was this kid walks in and he says he's got something stuck, and I'm like, okay, where's it stuck? And he says he just looks at me and goes, it's stuck. So I say, okay, and let me take a look. And what is it? He said it's a shot glass. So I go, wait, you got a shot glass stuck up there? And he goes, yeah. And then I look over and there's this grown man with him. And I go, okay, Dad brought him in, that's fine. So then I take him to the back room.
How old? This was a child?
He was 17.
Oh my god.
So I go, okay, let me take a look. I look, and I had to use a scope, and with a flashlight, and I see an upside down shot glass shining at me.
Wait, so which part did he go? Did he go like, because the shot glass has like a thicker part where you drink out of,
Yep.
and the base. So which was outside the asshole?
Okay, so the base was not outside the asshole.
So
it was inside the asshole, all the way to the internal sphincter. So the base got stuck, and the
As
bottom
if you
of
were
it
gonna
was
take
past.
a shot out of it.
Oh, so like someone could pour a shot if he like laid down.
Correct.
And it was still stuck in the.
And it was stuck on the internal side, and it's too dangerous to get out with my little alligators. Because
Right.
if you break the glass, you kill the kid.
He'll die.
You will die. You'll bleed to death immediately.
So it
Why?
wasn't.
Well, why would you bleed to death?
Well, because there's a lot of vasculature there.
There's so much vascular. That's why they do suppositories. Have you ever had a suppository?
No.
So it was it past the point of no return? Like it was past the internal sphincter? Like you couldn't get at it?
but I could see it, and the glass was right there.
Did it still smell like tequila?
Absolutely. But I had a mask on, so I couldn't really tell. Anyways,
Wow. That's
so
crazy.
But so immediately I called the ER.
Right.
And I talked to the ER doctor. I go, hey, I got to send you this kid. It's too dangerous for me to remove this glass because there's nothing for me to grab on. He said, don't do it. It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
So I sent him. And then I said, okay, where are you guys from? And they said, Laguna Beach. And then as they were headed to the ER, I realized that wasn't his dad.
Stop. No,
I had no idea.
he was a predator.
Yeah, he said he was, but it was a guy from Laguna.
Yeah.
And they went to the ER, so I called the ER immediately and said, "Hey, I don't think that's his dad. So make sure you call and get parental consent." And the poor kid had to have surgery to get it removed, otherwise he'd kill him.
And he probably had to out himself to his parents to let them know.
Maybe.
Well, because otherwise you're going there with a parent.
Yeah, you have to get parental consent.
Right. So he's hiding something from
Unless
the parent.
it's a matter of life and death.
Right. And luckily, we thought it was his dad, so we just referred him on.
Yeah.
And he's alive and well now.
Would it have been safer if the rim of the glass was in first?
No.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, there's nothing to grab. You can't remove it.
Yeah, because it's going to squeeze that part.
You know, there's lots of...
It's irresponsible on so many levels.
But can I ask you this? Is it... At what point are you interfering with God's plan in that moment? Like maybe that's just natural selection. You know? Like...
You know, I'm just trying to save a life.
Yeah.
That's where I intervene, and if I can't,
Yeah.
I just pass it on, and God has his choice now.
Yeah. So now with the tools that are in place to save this child who's going to contribute nothing to society.
We don't know. He could now.
Yeah.
He could be perfect.
It would be great if we had him on the podcast. And
You gave him a
20
shot.
years later.
You gave him a
let's give
shot
this
at
kid a
life.
shot. Let's give him
this
a
kid
shot.
a shot at life.
Well, at least he took a shot at removing it. You know, most people wouldn't even do that.
Yeah. You tried? What'd you try?
I just took a peek.
Oh, okay.
So you have a little scope in your office? That's cool.
Absolutely.
A little sigmoidoscope?
Yeah.
Anoscope?
I mean, I just, for his safety, you just needed to know what he was up against. And he was up against a lot.
He was definitely, there was something up against him for sure.
Have you ever seen
some
anything
point in
else
that day.
stuck in like women or men or?
I just have on X-ray. One of the doctors at one of the medical centers I worked with used to have the X-ray Halloween Sick and Twisted show, and he would have all the X-rays. There's no names, but he would always have pictures of what he would find in the intestines.
Oh.
And the biggest thing I ever saw was an Aquanet bottle with the lid on.
What's an Aquanet bottle?
It's a big can about this big, has a big plastic lid.
Ooh.
And it's probably about at least 3 centimeters wide.
It's like a can of Lemon Pledge.
Yeah, it's actually a little larger than Lemon Pledge. I like Lemon Pledge.
Smells
Lemon
good.
Pledge is a classic scent, honestly. But can I ask you a question? Is there, like, what are they doing it for? Is it like intense pleasure? Like, what is the trade-off for something like that? There's got to be a payoff.
There's got to be a payoff.
Right.
I don't know.
But is there like there's some sort of like there's
Just didn't have a cucumber laying around, dude.
yeah, but is a cucumber like is it that much more pleasurable? Like what scientifically is happening there? Whether it's like psychologically, like what is the draw?
The only thing I can think of is stretch. Some people like stretch.
Like physically, like
the intestines don't feel pain. If you have gas pains, it's because it's stretching your intestines. It's got to be stretch.
So they like the feeling of stretch.
I'm just stretching for that right now.
Is it the same kind of feeling as like when you're stretching for exercise?
Must be. I wouldn't know personally, but it's got to be.
But you never asked any of these patients, like, hey, so what's this about? Like,
They usually never tell you the real story anyway, so
Yeah, you never know how that bottle got there. They fell on it usually.
right, they fell on it totally naked, lubed up, and sitting on a crate full of Aquanet. They just happened to exert too much
They
pressure
fell
on the
down
box.
stairs
And,
with a crate.
yeah,
if I'm ever doing that, I'm falling on like a pound of cocaine or like,
right.
some sort of rare artifact from a museum that needs to be
Removed.
removed.
Yeah.
But like that's
Or
those
smuggling,
are the only
smuggling to jail.
yeah. Anything else is bush league.
In
You
your
know?
jail wallet,
Like,
your prison wallet.
yeah, yeah. I'm using it as an element of thievery. There's no like
It's
like
not
why,
for sexual pleasure.
Yeah, like I'm
It's for
saying,
money.
like that's why I'm so shocked. Like because that's the only thing I can think of being like the payoff that where it matters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like where you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna stretch out my asshole, and there's like a lot of risk here, but a pound of cocaine could fucking pay my rent for like 7 months. You know, that I understand.
Right.
But when it's like an Evian bottle or whatever, that I don't understand. Unless you are going through TSA, you know, and sometimes you're like, I do want a fucking bottle of water.
That's how I feel about
You know?
smoking cigarettes. I don't understand why people smoke cigarettes. They don't even get you high. Same analogy.
No, they
I can
do
under-
get you high.
They do?
Yeah.
Like nicotine?
Yeah, you get a
Oh.
nicotine rush, especially if you haven't smoked in a while. You know, when they're like, oh, I finally had that cigarette. Like, then you get a little rush. And also, a lot of people with social anxiety use it to leave situations. It's like
That
one
makes
of
sense.
one of
That's
the only acceptable ways to just like step out of a conversation or a room, where it's
Gotcha.
like, oh, you're just a fucking smoker, you can't help yourself. But just think about all the times like you were in a situation where you're like, I wish I could just get out of this with like a smoke bomb.
That's kind of a good point. Because a lot of smokers, you're like, are you going outside to smoke because you want to leave the situation, or you really? Because it really does relax people. Nicotine has been proven in laboratory animals, like all the lab rats that were fed nicotine and water got their way out of the maze, and all the other ones got lost.
Yeah. Because they take a second to think, decompress, process, leave situations, reduce anxiety, you know, all of these moments of clarity. And sometimes, like, if you're a guy, you know, none of us are particularly tall guys, right? So, like, sometimes when you're, like, in a club situation and you're in, like, the hunter mode, right? And you're like...
Cowboy boots.
Yeah, like, yeah, cowboy boots maybe, but you know what I mean? Like, a lot of times you're just passed over just because of height or something like that.
Cowboy boots.
Okay, so first of all, he and his brother were literally they still are super handsome, but when we were like 19 years old, these two guys, you could not go anywhere with, I'm not kidding, like every girl hitting on them. They had like this crazy hair, and it was like down to here, and it was like half, like it was just the most, they looked like, they just were like these handsome, like nobody looked like them. They had like blue eyes, so nobody quite knew like what race, what ethnicities, and every girl. Like one time do you remember we went to the water park on my 19th birthday? We go to this water park. I kid you not. Every girl is literally lining up in this whole entire place to try to figure out who you guys are and to meet you. And then you were literally like, Kent, your brother was, I remember, or it was either you, somebody took off, and it was insane. Like I remember my girlfriend at the time was just like, what the hell is going on with these guys?
Yeah, I don't remember that.
So if that happened to any normal person, you would have remembered it. But of course, it wouldn't happen to you.
I must have gone down too big of a slide that day. Who knows?
That was such a fun time. One of the things that I thought was very interesting is that all the characters that were around your circle when I moved to California, like so many like surfing people, music people, super interesting people out there, like just funny. You guys would tell like these funny stories about like these pro surfers. And do you remember are there any special characters that you remember growing up?
You mean growing up or growing or like in our college days?
In our college days, any and all.
Yeah, I mean, all the pro surfers would come down and want to surf because we had the Key to Blacks.
So what does that mean for our viewers, the Key to Blacks?
Yeah, for the viewers, it means that there's this huge trail down this giant hill that if you're on the surf team at UC San Diego, there's one key that's given to the team.
Right.
And it allows us to drive down this super steep hill. It's a calf burner. Mm-hmm. You know, most people can only do it once or twice and they're done.
And that beach is called what?
It's called Black's Beach. It was a nude beach at the time when we were in college.
Right.
I think it still is.
I think it is too. But there's incredible waves down at the bottom of Black's Beach, so people wanted to go and surf in Black's Beach, and so they would, all of like the top pro surfers at the time would get in touch with the Doonan brothers, and we would end up having the privilege of surfing not only with the Doonans, who are incredible surfers, but with like the top surfers at the time, and it was super cool.
Yeah, it was super cool until I brought the best surfers in the world down there, and then one of the locals smashed my windshield with a brick.
Yeah, and you saw it, didn't you?
No, somebody saw it. Somebody was in the other car and saw it. So
That's
I
crazy.
mean, we just took the guy to court and he paid for the windshield, and we said sorry. And we shook hands, and we still surf together to this day.
That's so
But he
nuts.
just didn't want me to bring other people down there. I don't blame him.
Right. Yeah. So it was a little bit. So there was
But
a
we
little bit
just
of
went
localism
down to
at
video
Black's.
that one time for the Taylor Steele videos.
So Taylor Steele. Who's Taylor Steele?
Taylor Steele is probably one of the best movie producers ever in surfing, and he became a good friend of mine over the years. And now he shoots all sorts of commercials. He's big time now.
He's doing more commercial, normal stuff or like mainstream stuff. So at the time, he was filming like the top surfers at the time: Kelly Slater, Shane Dorian, Ross Williams,
And don't forget Rob Machado.
Rob Machado. Who else?
Who else? Did you say Ross Williams?
Said Ross Williams.
Yeah, he's so fun. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, so just everybody, all the top surfers at the time, and you guys were right in the thick of things, just eating and surfing and spending all the time with them. It was super cool to be like a fly on the wall at the time for me.
Yeah, those were some of the best times of my life.
Yeah, me too. I know, isn't that crazy? Like back then we were totally broke, and I just think back like, wow, life was just so easy. All we did was just go surfing and go to class.
Yep.
Nothing was really, and we were so motivated too for everything. It was just so motivated, whether it was studying, whether it was surfing.
Yeah, getting up at 5 a.m, ice cold water, and the waves are 10 to 15 foot, and we just get smashed before class.
I love the ritual that you and your brother used to do. You guys had like 15 things to do after you got out of the water. You had like first you had to brush your hair, and then you had to put your eye drops in, and then you had to like brush your teeth. Then you had like you guys like, I was like, are we leaving? We gotta get to class. You're like, no, wait. We have to we have to exfoliate first.
How you have to have a pretty face in surfing these days.
That was funny. Yeah, and then we had a crazy crew of friends that went to UCSD with us as well. Some guys and they've moved all over the country, all over the world actually. So it's super cool to be able to keep in contact with those guys and pop into them wherever we go.
And the surf team, did you? I know you were on the surf team with me.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, like, what was your favorite contest? Do you remember a contest?
One of my favorite contests. There were so many of them. I remember doing really well at Salt Creek. That was cool. I really liked the Black's Beach contest that we hosted. That was the UCSD surf team hosted. Let's see. Obviously, Trestles is the best because we literally got to one of the most crowded surf spots in the world, and is the best wave is called Lowers Trestles, and so they would literally block it all off, and you got to surf it for a heat, which was like, 15, 20 minutes by yourself with 2 other competitors or 3 other competitors. So that was amazing.
Yeah, 20 minutes, hopefully. Those
Yeah.
15-minute heats were tough.
Yeah. So that was just super, super fun. What about you? What was your favorite contest you ever surfed?
Ever?
Well, when you won the NSAA, when the NSSA
well,
championships, that was probably pretty
my
cool.
favorite contest.
And that was at Lowers.
Yeah, at Lowers. Just because when I was 12, I was taken up by this pro surfer named Simon Severson, and he brought me up to Lowers for my first time and said, "This is where all the pros surf. Like, this is the wave in
Right.
Southern California." So I just said, "Oh my gosh, I got to surf here all the time."
Right. And so you were surfing there all the time. That's why you got
All
so
the
good.
time.
And so when
Every
you finally
summer, every single day.
Really? And so then finally, when you got to the chance to actually surf and compete there, you were dialed in, I suppose.
Yeah. And then Black's Beach was a good second, just because, it's all about board time.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, when you stand up on the board, you need to, if you're doing 5 turns every wave, you're going to finally get really good at it.
Right. Yeah. That is, and Black's Beach had the most consistent waves. There was always good waves down there. It was so cool to actually, and it was funny. I remember there being like just small waves for I guess San Diego standards, but for me coming from New Jersey, it was like, oh man, there's waves today, and people would be like, oh, it's flat, and I'm like, flat? What are you talking about? It's
I remember this.
It's like 2 to 3 feet. Like we surfed today. Like flat is flat in New Jersey. Flat is flat. It's flat all the time, unless there's a storm that passes by and there's waves. So we were super. You guys were spoiled.
That's what everyone says. But Black's Beach, you're extra spoiled.
And then you got to spend some time as well in Hawaii, surfing the North Shore. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, the North Shore is that's the proving ground. So if you're a pro surfer, you have to surf Bonsai Pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the number one place. Everyone, surfs Sunset. Some people don't like it because it's kind of it's a trickier wave.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just hit the reef and barrel. You got to really time it right, and the waves are, really thick and large.
And you got to use big equipment as well to get into those waves. They have enough speed to get in there.
I remember I surfed Sunset one time, and I didn't know where to sit, but luckily I paddled out with Peter Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Cole Senior before he passed. He was one of the pioneers of Sunset Beach, and what I would do is I'd paddle all the way out. I had an 8.0.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally you surf on a board that's 5, 10, or 6 feet.
Right.
But my board was 8 feet, so I could paddle really fast.
Yeah.
And what I would do is he'd sit all the way on the outside, and I would sit just as far out as he was, but to the left about 5 feet.
So when the
and
west
then everybody else is on the inside of me.
Right.
And when the huge wave came in, he would always kind of go, Bryan. And I'd turn around and just catch the biggest wave I've ever ridden.
That's crazy. How about, did you ever have any near-death experiences, whether you hit the reef, hit a rock, been held down for so long that you literally thought that there's a possibility you might die?
Absolutely. At least twice, like 2 times that I can really remember. The worst one was I was surfing in this place in Fiji called Cloudbreak, and it wasn't that huge of a day. It was probably, because Hawaiians call a 6-foot wave, we
It's
call
really
that
15
we call
feet.
it 12, at least double that. So the wave, it had 20-foot faces,
Right.
and I probably caught a 10-foot wave before it that I would call 10 feet. Hawaiians would call it 5. And then I got this perfect barrel, but it had this north wind, and when there's a north wind in Fiji, it throws this chop. So I pulled into this barrel, and I'm just riding in there, just loving it, flying out of the barrel, and there's this huge chop as I come out, and I hit it, and it just catapults me off my board, and then I hit, and I turn around, and on the inside of Cloudbreak, there's a really shallow reef that they call shish kebabs. And they call it shish kebabs because if you hit it, you turn into the human shish kebab.
Oh, shit.
So I'm sitting there, and this 20-foot wave comes in and just annihilates me. So I swim down to the bottom, and I learned this from this guy named Noah Johnson. Noah Johnson and Jack Johnson, the singer Jack. So they were both friends, and we'd always ask them, how do we surf Hawaii? What do we do? Like if this huge wave comes in, what do we do? And they go, swim down and hold on to the bottom. So I swam down, held onto the bottom, and I laid as flat as I could on the reef. And there was probably just 6 inches to a foot of water that I could actually see through, and the rest was just violence. So, and I was at least as deep as this room is after the wave passed. And I said, okay. And they always told me to count, because there's usually, when the waves are that big, you probably have about 18 seconds. So I go 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, as I'm holding, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 1,000, 8, 9, and I grab on, stand on the reef, and I push up as hard as I could, and I stroke as hard as I can to get a breath, because I have 8 seconds. And then I finally go, oh my gosh, because it was so violent that no one told me that the foam would be so thick that there's no buoyancy. So I was at least 2 feet deep, and I couldn't get to the top because the foam was so thick. It wouldn't float me up. So I said, then I go, oh my gosh, I'm done. And I knew the next wave was coming, and I was just going to get smashed, and I was running out of air. So I just said, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And I just said, okay, this is the only thing I do. Put my hands straight up. I started doing circles like this because I said, if I break it, I could probably get a breath right down my arm. And as soon as my hand popped out and I just went, the wave goes, whoa,
Another one came.
boom, right over me. I was luckily right at the pit of the barrel. and it popped me right out the back, and I swam and went straight to the boat.
That's crazy.
I go, that was it. If I went over the falls on that one, I would have been done.
To make that split decision to like
I was just-
chop like foam out of the way. Wow.
Yeah, that was just, no one taught me that trick. I just said, that's the only thing I could do. I finally thought of everything. Like, what am I going to do?
Do you feel like that was instinct or divine intervention?
Divine intervention.
Yeah. Is that so? Like, as a doctor, obviously, like the stakes are lower because you're doing a lot of urgent care and like kind of like routine treatment stuff. So you're not like in the midst of, let's say, like a crisis, sort of like alleviating like people's arms being blown off or something. But like you kind of face like mortality regardless of like the off chance of this guy like getting his, you know, sphincter clipped and dying from that, you know, like, do you feel like there's still divine intervention? Do you feel like that?
Absolutely. I mean, the way it happened is like, okay, the thought came to my head. I did it. I took a breath, and then it spit me out of the back of the next giant barrel. It just literally threw me right to the top.
Are there any other examples of divine intervention that you've seen in other people's lives, whether it be friends, family, or patients that you've been like, I can't believe that this happened?
Yeah, let me think about that for a second.
In the meantime, are we doing Pokemon or negative?
Yeah. Mike, would you like to bring the Pokemon cards in? Thanks. That's why I stepped out to arrange and broker this Pokemon card deal.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Did you stop by that guy down the street?
Yeah, the guy down the street.
Oh,
the Mike
awesome.
went over there. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Right. So this is our sponsor. Go ahead.
Pokemon, the trading card game. Do you like Pokemon? Do you still interact with Pokemon to a certain extent in your daily life?
You know what? I haven't.
Really?
I don't know a lot about Pokemon. I just, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
And I think when I was in medical school, it probably came out, and unfortunately, I never got
All
involved.
right. Well, I think
Can you get me involved?
Yeah, I'll totally get you involved, dude. Actually, it's a really good way to, let's just say, group your assets together in an item that will maintain its value, like art. So you could get cards that are hundreds of thousands of dollars and sort of, you know, keep them in a safe deposit box as like a liquid asset, you know, because you could liquefy it pretty quickly. But anyway, this
So
set sucks.
they're trading cards.
Yeah. So this set sucks, but you're gonna open one pack and hopefully it's gonna be good luck. You're gonna open Twilight Masquerade. So when you open it up, once you get a shiny card, we'll start like looking at them.
Be gentle because he screams at the guests that do it aggressively.
That's right, because you cannot compromise the value. Like any imperfection reduces the value of the card.
Okay. Is there an easy way to open?
I find it to open it like a condom doesn't work.
He doesn't use condoms.
Right. So take it almost like you're opening a bag of really airy chips, you know?
Airy chips.
Yeah, like you kind of just like, you know, you get the back flap because you know it's like going to do like a nice crisp pop open.
Oh, so pulling the back vertical seam,
Yeah.
you're saying? I got you.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
back
got it,
vertical
got it.
seam. And,
There we go.
Yeah.
I've done this, but don't compromise.
Yeah, don't compromise the card. So, like, yeah, you want to get a grip on that top portion and kind of pull it out like a chip bag. Like, so you want to pinch in this part, right? This is the best way to open it. Actually, this is great advice. So you're going to pull it like this. You got the back tab. It's established. And then now make sure that you pull a little bit from that other side to create friction and pop it open.
We're over exaggerating. You don't have to be
Yeah,
that
you know,
gentle.
Yeah.
well, the thing is,
No, it's
Just pull
it's
it
just
open.
the lotion I used this morning to keep my hands soft today.
Oh yeah,
That's the issue.
Judson just uses cum, his own cum.
To open the Pokemon
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah, he just like that's his moisturizer.
It actually it makes things drier.
Does it?
I think so. Yeah, it's
You
kind
made
of
it
like
look so easy.
exfoliator.
It's coming.
You got it?
Go from the other side.
Yeah, go from the other side. Like pull it so you.
This side?
Yeah, you could probably do that.
Yeah,
Just
or just bite it. Whatever.
go.
yeah. There you go. Oh, you got it.
Just don't drool too much on it.
You
There we
could
are.
drool
Good,
if it's a
excellent.
good card. I get
Okay,
it.
so what are we looking at here?
Yeah, you want to get like you want to see the shiny parts. So just like anything that's not a shiny card, just ignore it
Okay.
and show it to the camera. No, yeah, so none of that matters. So just cut through the.
Do a cut through.
No, yeah, you want to look for a shiny
Oh.
one.
Is that shiny?
No,
That's called a
you'll
basic
know
energy.
when it's a shiny.
Can I show the audience? or
Yeah,
do
you
I
can
need-
show the audience. Yo, wait, yes. Show the
Oh,
audience.
That's a shiny one.
Yes.
Shine-
Let's go.
Get your
Is this
shine
the
on.
best poll we've had so far?
Get your
I don't know
shine
what
on.
it is. What is it?
What's his name?
The caretaker.
Perfect. Pass it over here.
So is that worth something? I guess
yes,
so.
it is. It is.
Good
worth
job,
something.
Bryan Doonan.
You might have another one in
Keep
there, Brian.
pulling.
Yeah, keep pulling until you stop getting shiny cards.
Was
Okay.
that a shiny card?
This is a very good card.
That's shiny.
Let's see. Oh, actually, that's great. Wait, that's a Pokeball one, too. Very good. Very, very. Dude, you just are lucky.
This is the best pull
This
we've
is
ever
the best
had.
pull we've had so far.
Divine intervention.
Yeah, dude, let's go.
What else you got?
Is that shiny?
Very.
That one sucks, but you can pass it over. Yeah, your luck has run out, but it's all right.
I have no idea what this means. However,
If it's not shiny now, then we're done.
it's not shiny.
Okay, we're good. You're good. The rest don't matter.
Really?
Yeah, it's garbage.
Can I
No,
still
let's
look?
see.
Yeah, you can
look.
still look. Yeah.
Okay. No shine. Get your shine on. Nothing. Okay. Nope. And that looks like a cool one though. That one's not shiny.
Monferno.
This card is worth $1.14.
Nice.
Yep.
Good job.
And
All
this
right.
one, $1.12.
Very nice.
Solid. Solid return on. That's why it's gambling for children. It really is. It
All
really
right,
is.
so now we're gonna progress into the lightning round, and first part of the lightning round is where we ask the same question to all of our guests, and my question is always: here's the situation: you find yourself arrested, you're in jail, you get one phone call. Who is your one phone call?
Always my twin brother.
You have a twin brother?
Identical.
So the brother in all these stories was your identical twin.
Yes.
Is he also a doctor?
He is.
What does he have a specialty or?
Yeah, his specialty is music. He stopped. He got his MD, and as soon as he was done, he stopped.
And he's a musician?
Now he's a musician. Yeah,
What kind of music does he do?
he's got 3 genres. He plays rock and roll. He's got his own electronic, and then he's got his acoustic folk.
Is he a household name or would we know?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But he's on it.
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. But he DJs and stuff?
He doesn't DJ. No, but he does. He played multiple shows. He opened for the Triple Crown of Surfing in Hawaii.
Oh, fuck
With
yeah.
it was Matt Costa played after him, and then Keala Kennelly. She's a name brand female surfer from Hawaii.
I only know Kelly Slater.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Kelly Slater.
Have you ever heard of him?
Never heard of him.
The only surfer I
Just
can
kidding.
name besides you two.
No, he's one of the greatest surfers of all time.
Yeah. He had a video game. That's how I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Kelly Slater's pro
Yeah, that
surfer.
was one of the first greatest surf games.
Yeah? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you?
What is one hack that you wish more people knew about and you're not scared to, you don't feel like you need to gatekeep it? It's just you want to share that knowledge of a hack, life hack.
Hack. Okay. define like a life hack.
Advice, yeah.
yeah,
Any
like
advice you have for anybody?
Yeah, like an example is someone we have asked was like, you know, you don't actually need to have your boarding group like attached to you on an airplane. Like you could actually board in any group and they're not going to say anything. So like if you're group 3, like just go during group 1.
Which is definitely not true, by the way.
No, I did it and it worked.
It did?
Yeah.
I've seen
So-
people get denied.
Yeah,
But anyway.
if you got to play it cool. So a hack like that.
It's one of my favorite hacks is whenever I go to Vegas, I'll show up, I'll just get an average room, and as soon as you check in, you just drop a 20 to the guy who's checking you in, and you just doubled his salary for that hour. And then next thing you know, you're looking at the Caesar's Palace.
Which hotels do you go to in Vegas?
Any?
And you just do 20?
Yeah, usually 20. You just have to figure out what their wage is, and you just throw that money at them, and it works.
I know a
And
hack
they
that
really
you,
appreciate it.
I know a hack that you taught me when I was younger, which is if you look at a woman that you're interested in,
Yep, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
what's the hack?
You don't ever look away.
Really?
Works every time.
So you just like look at them and you catch their eyes looking at you and you
Yeah,
keep
if
looking at
if
them.
they're already looking at you, then you just look at them and just don't look away until they do. And then next thing you know what their name is.
Really? Why do you think that works?
Just because most girls want to see a guy who's confident. And if you look away, then they're like, oh, or they think, oh, he's not interested, and they're like, when you show them that, they go, wait, he's looking at me.
Even if you're ugly like me?
Nobody says you're ugly.
Thanks, Dad.
So how about what's your favorite food in this point? Like what is your favorite thing? If you're last meal, what's your last meal gonna be?
Mexican food.
Mexican
choice.
food?
Yeah, Mexican food.
Mexican food. We call it Mexican food. And where is the best place?
What is Mexican food?
No, Mexican food.
Oh,
I
you're just
love
saying it.
Yeah. No, because we always had this inside joke. Let's go get Mexican food. I don't know what. How do we start with that?
I don't know. But where's your favorite place to get a burrito or
Mexican food.
What's your favorite
Right now, it's
spot?
El Ranchito.
Okay, where's El Ranchito?
We call it the
Newport?
ranch. We call it the ranch. Yeah,
Is
it's
that
in
Newport Beach? Okay.
Avila's El Ranchito. The simplest thing is a bean and cheese burrito,
Right.
and their bean and cheese burrito is like dessert.
You can't even get a bean and cheese
It's
burrito
so
here.
good.
Yeah.
I want meat in my burrito.
You can have it. They've got those too. But I just like a plain bean and cheese burrito. I don't know why I've always loved
The
it.
way you know a good Mexican restaurant is by the beans.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're gonna compare, it's the beans. Period.
Why?
So-
Because they're like, oh, these cans are superior
Well,
to another.
that's the whole thing is that it's not canned. Like if you go to a real Mexican restaurant, they're doing all kinds of stuff with the beans to make them perfect, and all you need is a bean and cheese burrito, and it's incredible. But out here in New York or in the East Coast, you just don't get exposed to that kind of beanery.
I don't
so to
like
speak.
refried beans. The mush, the bean mush, I don't like that.
Okay. You don't have
We
to
don't-
like
you
it.
don't
Do you like that?
Yes.
Why?
It's just what I grew up on in California.
The mushy?
I was born in Jersey, though, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I lived here till I was 7, and then my parents moved to L.A.
Huh.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the part of you that likes the refried beans, is the Jersey part?
No, the California part.
Nah, they don't like refried beans.
They have good refried beans in California.
How do you know?
I know. I did the census
did.
in California.
I want to see the data.
I hate refried beans. Wait, okay, another question. What is some advice that you would give to your younger self?
Yeah, to not stress so hard on everything and just watch it happen. Instead, I used to put so much pressure on myself on I got to do this right now to make it tomorrow, and just relax a little bit because it's going to happen no matter what if you got your eyes on it.
Are you happy?
Very.
Do you feel fulfilled in life?
No.
What is missing?
Missing is probably more family.
Yeah.
I'm adopted, so it's like there's been a lot of stuff going on with that, and Yeah, once I have my own family, I'm hoping that'll take the void.
What would you do as a father?
As a father, I'd love to raise kids and guide them on a perfect path.
What's the perfect path to you?
Their happiness.
So if they were like, Pop, I want to be an artist.
Done.
Now, do you think that you've worked hard to a certain extent to be able to afford them that freedom and path choosing so that that safety net exists?
Yes, absolutely. I'll work harder.
So it's almost like you're sacrificing yourself for the next generation?
Always.
Are you tired?
Yeah. I'm exhausted.
You've had an incredible life, though, and accomplished so much and had so much fun in the process. I think that, it's super admirable. I remember I remember you went to medical school in the middle of Missouri, but you came back, you always were like, no matter what, I'm coming back to California. And you created an incredible world for yourself. You built yourself up. You built your business around. You created a whole network of friends that always were just like attracted to you like a magnet. So from an outsider, you've definitely made it, and I'm super proud to be your friend. Is there anything that you'd like to plug before we finish the podcast, or how can people follow you? How can they find you? Tell the viewers how they could find and follow more about Dr. Bryan Doonan.
Yeah, my biggest, I guess my biggest avenue is Instagram, and there's a couple podcasts that I'm on there that you can learn a little bit more about me and my brother. That's usually where I pass my information. With my new company that I'm starting, it's not out yet, but it's happening in the next month.
What's your Instagram handle?
What is the handle?
Is it Dr. Bryan Doonan? Is it Bryan Doonan?
It's Dr. Doonan. Dr.Doonan.
Got you. Doonan.
Thanks, Judson.
Cool.
Dr. Crosney.
Any other questions for our esteemed guest?
Dude, I want to talk to you for hours. You're so raw. Like, you're like a real person, What do you think is like, what advice do you have for me? What advice do you have for anybody listening here?
Just if you believe in it, it's right there in front of you, and you just have to find the way to get there. And it's not always as hard as you think. And if you put the time in, it will happen.
Cool, very cool. All right. God bless America.
God bless America.
Yeah.
God bless everybody.
Everybody. But especially America.
Especially America.
So that's going to wrap up our Close the Door Behind You with special guest Dr. Bryan Doonan. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Hell yeah, bro.